तो या सोमोदिक लेट्स स्टार्ट. एवरीबॉडी
All right.
एक्साइटेड? रुको रुको रुको, ये मतलब एक रीति रिवाज, सब एक्साइटेड हो तो चैट में +1 एक्साइट, +1 एक तो ओम कुमार ऑलवेज फर्स्ट, साक्षी, श्रीजिता, अर्पित, ये
All right. Just
यस.
before we start, I would like to ask my teammates, Sohan, to kindly inform me if people have doubts in the chat because while presenting, I wouldn't be able to see um, the chat box. So I would like Sohan to maybe
Yeah,
look
yeah, sure. I'll
for the
module
same
it.
as well. All right. Great. I guess we will start now. All right. Okay. So this session will the focus of the session would mostly be on the fundamentals of machine learning, what it is, what it encompasses, I would say the different aspects of ML, the different applications of machine learning, and everything else. All right. So let me begin. So you know what artificial intelligence is? Uh, AI or artificial intelligence is an area of computer science network or a computer science that emphasizes the creation of intelligent machines. Now, the keyword here is intelligent. What do you mean by the word intelligent? Can mean a lot of things, but the main or the primary meaning could be something like some entity which can make decisions on its own that is not essentially hard coded in its entirety, right? So the entity can decide what path to take, what decision to make at any given moment when it's given or handed a list of parameters or situations. For example, you are walking on a road, you see you see two roads, like you see the road forking in front of you, right? You see two roads. One of them says danger and one of them says safe, right? Which one would you take? Well, considering you're an intelligent being, obviously you would go for the road which says safe, right? Because it's labeled as such, like it's labeled safe. So you'd go on that path. So that's what intelligent would mean in terms of artificial intelligence. Now, the second keyword here is artificial. Now, obviously, as we all know, this is not something which is actually intelligent, which is like it doesn't have a brain of its own. What it tries to do is it tries to emulate a brain in a way. So artificial intelligence is something which mimics human actions or mimics a certain entity which can take decisions on its own, which are essentially good in a particular situation given a set of parameters to it. Now, I know this might sound a bit complex, but I will try to explain with small examples or analogies as we like go down the line. All right. So let me just move down, and here we see the subdomains of artificial intelligence. Before going that way, I'd like to use a small example to demonstrate or to explain what I just said. So explain imagine a young kid. All right. So when you give him a picture of a dog and a cat, give him two pictures. One picture is of a dog, and then another picture would be of a cat. And you ask that kid to tell which is which. At first, let's say the kid doesn't know anything about dogs or cats. That person doesn't know anything about either, right? So initially you say, giving the picture of a dog, this is a dog. And then you give the picture of a cat and then say, this is a cat. So you label the pictures or the entities in the pictures or the beings in the pictures as either dogs or cats. Now, as we all know, there are certain physical uh, like aspects or physical properties which are, I would say, more akin to a dog, and then there are some other physical characteristics which are more, I would say, akin to a cat, right? So you wouldn't get confused between the two because you know those differences. You know those differences, and like the facial structure, the color of the fur, the size and the build of the different species or whatever. So a kid who doesn't know anything about either, when just labeled as dog or cat, would figure out the differences between the two, and that is how he learns the difference. This is a dog and this is a cat, and this is a very slow process. In the kid's head or in your mind, you might think it's a very like smooth or a grad, it's a very, I mean to say, in terms of programming or in terms of artificial intelligence, it could be something which happens in a fraction of a second. But if you think about it, really really think about it, when you are using AI to differentiate between, let's say, a cat or a dog or any other entity, it's a very gradual process in which the program learns the differences physically, right? So that's a very good example to tell the differences. Like that's a very good example to tell what AI essentially does or is. I hope everyone is following, right? Vishnu? All right.
Yeah, yeah, everybody
There's
getting
a
it
lot
right.
of.
आज का थोड़ा वही like you will like देखो, I would say कि अगर किसी को कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा और you find it like monotonous, ठीक है, like I know like it's a long topic
हाँ,
theoretical, किसी को monotonous लगे तो you just say mono in the chat, ठीक है, then we will try to like थोड़ा थोड़ा
या
चीजों
थोड़ा
को थोड़ा
बहुत, हाँ हाँ.
ऐसा ऐसा एक्साइटिंग करने की कोशिश करेंगे. For now like if anybody has doubt till then कि कुत्ता बिल्ली कैसे differentiate करते हैं वो AI करता है, तो if you guys didn't get that, तो मतलब thumbs up.
Just to again, sorry guys, my Hindi is a bit like
हाँ
weak.
हाँ.
Okay, I'm good in Bengali and English, but like my Hindi is a bit weak. Sorry.
So guys, you got it till
Anyways,
now. अभी तक simple था. Like +1 +2 in the chat की +1 लास्ट में था. Okay. Thumbs up sir that. Great. सबको समझ आ रहा है? Okay. Okay. Great. 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 ठीक है,
all
continue.
right, all right, all right. Now here is a broad classification of artificial intelligence. So a lot of people actually write AI ML. Um, it's artificial intelligence and machine learning. But then, if you really think about it, machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence encompasses a lot of different topics, right? And machine learning is a subset or a subtopic within artificial intelligence. Um, so what I would like to explain what machine learning is in a bit, but then let me just go over the other things, right? Here, if you want, like you can explore this presentation that I've made with more, like we've got slides explaining each one later down the line, but here I would like to really focus on primarily three things. One is computer vision, one is machine learning, and then the other is natural language processing. There are a lot of other entities or things, right? Subtopics, subdomains, or as we call them. You can explore them later down the line. Um, Here in computer vision, it's a subdomain of artificial intelligence where, like I said, you give a picture of a cat and a dog, and it broadly classifies between the two. We have other applications as well, and we'll discuss them down the line. And this is just a very basic introduction to computer vision, I know, but then it's just I'm trying to just broadly classify it into some topics. Machine learning, on the other hand, would be discussed later. And this third one is natural language processing. So natural language processing or NLP is again a subdomain of artificial intelligence where we basically, um, you know, try to process the way the text, English or any other text, written text in a way that that is, statistical or analytical. Like we try to break the text down into smaller tokens and try to generate text from that text or analyze that text or make decisions based on that text. That is what natural language processing is. And I think the biggest example of that is actually chat gpt, right? I think we are all familiar with what it is. I don't need to give an introduction of about what chat gpt does or is. Moving on. Yeah. So what is machine learning, right? Machine learning is the science of programming computers so that they can learn from data. So the word data here is, I would say, a bit. It should have been something like processed data. So what is data? Data can be anything. Data, well, not anything. Data is useful information, something which can be processed, something which is very useful in our, something which can be analyzed. That is what data is. It can be in any form, it can be in any language. It doesn't necessarily need to be text or images. It can be speech, it can be anything you want, but it's something which is important for machine learning because it provides us with the context, it provides us with information, it gives the machine learning algorithm and a direction on how to proceed or where to go, right? When you give the picture of the cats and the dogs, that is what the data is in that specific aspect. I'm sure you're well aware of what data is in a broad sense, but then yeah. So you see the second quote here, like the second line here, which is machine learning is the field of study that gives computers the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. So, like I said previously, the ability to think without being explicitly told what to do, like the ability to take decisions. It could be based on previous decisions, it could be based on mistakes, but that is what I think as humans gives us the edge over some other, organisms or some, like, although I know that a lot of you know animals are evolving to slowly, get quote unquote intelligent, but then I would say humans are a very of species which is very evolved in this respect, at least. Like, we know how to take decisions in very complex scenarios based on our mistakes, based on our past, or the previous decisions, based on what we see others, do. So, or just simply what we see, right? Like I said, the road, like safety, and then the other one safe, and then the other one was labeled dangerous. So you would obviously move on the road that says safe. So that's a very inherent thing that we have, and that is something which wasn't really coded or taught to us, right? Similarly, if you think about a program that it takes decisions for you without being taught, essentially taught or told what to do, that is what machine learning is. It could be taking decisions like, like the web dev project, movie recommendation system. I think that probably should use some model of some form of artificial intelligence or machine learning, sorry, there as well, because then they would recommend movies, that like what movies should you recommend, that's a decision. So that decision is being explicit, that's not explicitly coded in the program, right? It's not like, it's not an explicit if else loop. It's something that the program decides based on what, based on the user choices, based on the other parameters like watch time, maybe liked what other movies did I watch or like. So we've got parameters which decide, and parameters which help us decide, which help the machine learning algorithm to decide, but we need to train the machine learning algorithm with data so that it understands the differences and it learns how to take decisions. So that was a very broad and a very, I know, a time taking way of explaining what machine learning is, but it's really essential down the line. I hope you get it. So this is just a very general slide, and this is a timeline which shows and I think you guys know it's progressing so very fast now, and it's well, not a saturated field, but it's slowly, a lot of people are getting interested in machine learning, and then it's a very rewarding field in a lot of aspects as well. I'm sure you guys know the
Yeah, and I think like we got the like larger amount of participants going for the ML track this time.
wow, that's
Like,
great. I mean, so that does make sense, like, a lot of
hmm.
people are actually interested in machine learning, and then and if you think about like knowledge aspects as well, we've got a lot of research left in this field. There's a lot of scope of research in this field as well. And if you think about pay and salaries as well, I think that's a very good mm, reason a lot of people go into machine learning as well. It's an incredibly well paid field. I'm not going to go into the details, but it's really really well paid. I'm sure you guys are well aware of the salaries of some really good machine learning engineers. Obviously, any field, in any field you go, you have to be really good at it for you to be paid an obscene amount of money. But in machine learning, there's a lot of scope, and it's expanding, and it's a field which needs a lot of new and up and coming talent. So, anyways, you guys should just go through this. It's a good way to learn what the history was here. So, uh, the question comes: why do we really need machine learning? Not what do we need it for, but why? What is the use? Let me just give you a brief of what the traditional approach to programming was before machine learning was a thing. So say you've got to like, okay, fine, say you've got a movie recommendation system. Say it asks me, like, the questions or the inputs to the algorithm or the parameters, like I called it, are, let's say, time watched. Let's say it's the number of movies watched, and it's, let's say, names of the movies watched, and what are your interests, you know. Let's say these are the few parameters that the model, accepts as an input. For example, in traditional coding without machine learning, right, it's near about impossible to first off code this, and even if you did, you would have to literally go for every possible combination of the inputs and then put a movie or a yeah, movie as the recommended output. So that is near about impossible. And like it's written here, if the program is not trivial, your program will likely become a long list of complex rules, pretty hard to maintain, which is, pretty understandable, given the fact that you literally cannot do that. And I hope you guys know the reason, and I don't have to really explain that much detail, but it becomes a very difficult thing to, write code like that. It's not possible in small scenarios, in larger scenarios. Obviously in smaller scenarios you would obviously use an if else loop, but in machine learning, it sort of comes in between and takes the decisions where, in if else loop it's what we call, hard coded. So that is what it is. Well, that is why we use machine learning. This is a, obviously the program is a much shorter, easier to maintain, and likely more accurate. Obviously it is, and it's obviously it has a much lower memory and a much lower computational complexity as well. In a lot of ways, it doesn't consume as much memory as storing a huge list of very complex if else loops or whatever. It's a very optimal way to take decisions, right? Guys, I hope, again, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I hope you guys are anyone.
Mm,
Anyone, if you have any question, just ask or raise your hand. Don't need to feel shy. Just put
Yeah,
down your question in the comment section or you can raise your hands.
अभी
Don't
के
feel
लिए
shy.
तो
Just
सब
ask the question.
सुनेंगे। अभी के लिए सब सुनेंगे, थ्योरी वाला पार्ट हाँ हाँ हूँ करेंगे, मुंडी वाला हिलाएंगे एकदम। धीरे धीरे आ रहे, रुको, लाइक वी आर कमिंग टू एक्सरसाइज, वी आर कमिंग टू
yeah,
हैंड्स ऑन,
yeah, yeah.
लाइक बट वी
I need
नीड
to
दिस,
just,
लाइक
yeah,
लाइक
these are, again, just go through these are some visual graphs that are given. All right, this is a very important and an essential part of the process. Applications of machine learning, right? So we've got speech analysis, like speech recognition synthesis. I hope you understand what speech synthesis is. Cold calling people, speech synthesis is required. Speech recognition is obviously a very important. I think one of the projects were really here this time was closed captioning system, something like that, right? So we would have used speech analysis in that. Then there's obviously computer vision, like I said. So object detection and recognition both are very important parts of computer vision. Classification as well. So detection would be detecting if an object is present in a frame in a given image. Recognition would be what the object is, and classifying obviously would be classifying it based on predetermined classes. Let's say cats or dogs. So we are classifying it as a cat or a dog, or let's say we can expand it to fill up more classes like cat, dog, let's say fox, let's say beer, and then many as many as you would like. So that is what computer vision does. Robotics is another very important aspect, or I would say application of machine learning, where we have especially in systems where essentially up and coming robots were, or androids were, um, we have human interaction. We have a lot of speech systems going on. We have a lot of um, like we've got non-servo motors and stuff like that. We've, well, not non-servo, I mean to say that you know things which have a feedback loop essentially in robotics as well. Bioinformatics is also a very important field. We've got genetic analysis as a very important part of machine learning. For example, we do have multi-class classification of DNA. So you give a ATGC those strands, and then we basically
I
classify them
guess
as
like you are researching on in this field, right? I
yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah. I do have a research. I mean, I'm sort of on my way to publish my
Oh,
second
nice,
thesis on
great.
this one. Yeah. Then there's e-commerce. E-commerce would be or trading. We do have time series data which predicts where the stock will go, like stock market, and that is also part of financial analysis. Anyways, we have fraud detection algorithms, which like credit card fraud detection. We have a lot of that as well. It tries to check, and it's a part of outlier detection algorithms, which outlier is basically outlier is I would say a point in machine learning, or a data in machine learning which doesn't fit the traditional definition. Like it's not it doesn't fit the parameters or the properties that it should have, so it's basically not common. Like for example, well, to get a 50 or 60 lakh package from here, that's an outlier. So anyways, medicine, and then we have web as well. So these are some of the very important aspects of machine learning. Chatbots are there. That's also a very important part of machine learning. We've got a lot of other aspects, but yeah, these are some of the more, I would say, not niche, but some of the other aspects that you might not know of. You can read this, it's fine. Yeah, so before we get started on the experimental or the coding part of it, I would like to explain some small libraries that we typically, or the technology stack behind machine learning. So for maths, we have NumPy and SciPy. For we also have pandas, but that's mostly for handling matrices and vectors. We have obviously we use Python. We can all people also use R nowadays as a programming language, but that's a bit less common. We have SQL and NoSQL. And then for ML algorithms, there are a ton of algorithms for regression, a lot for classification, a lot for clustering as well. And we will make sure to cover all of these to help you understand what the different projects you can, do in each of these specific domains. Now, we also use scikit-learn. It's sorry, the spelling is SCIKIT, not KT. Scikit-learn, TensorFlow, and Keras. These tools, I mean, the second and the third one are mostly used for deep learning. There's another one called PyTorch, but again, it's a bit more advanced, and I would really expect you guys to learn TensorFlow and Keras and then step into PyTorch. It's a bit more complex compared to these few. And the last topic before we step into coding is something that I think you guys should have a very good idea of. So, you should know some specific terms associated with machine learning that would really help you to understand. If you watch any YouTube video, these terms are very commonly used, and you would, instead of thinking, what the hell is this? It's better to know that, before stepping into the coding side of things, because foundational knowledge is always important. Right. We have the first thing I would like to really explain is training data and testing data, right? Sorry. So when you get data in any format, or any form, like I said, say you have a huge table, right? Let's say we have 1,000 rows. It's not huge in terms of machine learning, but I'm assuming you guys haven't really done machine learning. It's my assumption. So consider it's easier for me to explain as well. Say we have got 1,000 rows, right? And each row contains a lot of information and stuff. Now, amongst these rows, we will not use all of these rows to train the model. Why, you may ask? The reason is, a lot of the times what might end up happening is the model will learn the data, or it will try to it will sort of what we call it mukhostho. It will basically try to do that in terms of the data. So it will try to mug up the data. It will sort of mug up the data, because what will happen is, after you're done training, when you start testing the model, you would notice that the accuracy is very low. But when you're calculating your accuracy, when you're using the data which you use to train the accuracy, or the other metrics of the model that you use, would be generally very high. So you would be, you might be confused as to what this is. So the accuracy while training is extremely high, and the accuracy after training while testing the model is very low. So this phenomenon is called overfitting the model. In this, the model basically learns to basically learns the data or mugs up the data to an extent. So what we do is we separate the data, and we assign training, testing, and validation classes. There are three classes. In a lot of machine learning algorithms, you would see two classes as well. So we have training and testing, and a lot of the times we use validation as well. So training data is used to simply train the model. Testing data is used to test the model after the training is done, obviously to measure, the metrics, as well as to obviously check overfitting or whatever. And then the validation data, it's optional, is used to basically check the model's performance while it's training. So while before we use training data to train, and while it's training we use validation data, and after training we use testing data to verify the accuracy of the model, or other metrics. I'm just using accuracy as a very general metric here. Second thing is labels. Actually, the third thing here, anyways, I'll just skip the first thing, it's very common. The third thing here is labels. Labels would, again, like I said, it would be cat or dog or any other thing. In generally they are used in classification problems. Let's say spam or not spam, cat or dog. Let's say hot dog or carrot. These are some very common labels that use in classification problems. You can use anything according to your liking. And this is again feature. Feature would be you know what, I think feature would be something which I would explain the next day, because I think you would need to understand a bit of the coding as well before, otherwise you probably feel too bored. It's just sort of I would say it's it's what I said, parameters, it's that but numerical essentially. So it's the set of quantitative values associated with a variable. So how many movies did I watch, that's a feature. uh, let's say we are doing like for the movie classification problem, how many movies, sorry, movie recommendation system, it's how many movies did I watch, what's the watch time. These are different features associated with a certain example, with an example or a row, right? It's a different inputs to a model. That's what a feature is in a very easy way to understand, right? And the testing, I think you've got what testing sample is. It's again, like I said, training, testing, and validation. Last thing here I would like to explain before we talk about the coding, when we start talking about the experimentation or coding, is the loss function. So I would just be very, very brief and very, very short in this, because it can get extremely mathematical and complex, but not to worry, it's extremely simple to understand if you've got the basic fundamentals of it, right? So I would like to just explain this using a very small example, or an analogy, right? So say, if written it down, yeah. So imagine you're trying to shoot arrows at a target, right? Your goal is to obviously hit the bullseye, the red dot in the center. You so after each shot, you check how far the arrow has landed from the center or the bullseye. After each shot, right? The farther you are from the center after each shot, obviously you would understand that that's worse. Like the farther you are, that's worse, or that you're performing worse than the previous time. And the closer you are, obviously you're performing better, right? So you would obviously adjust your shot the next time. Like if, for example, the first time you shoot, it's way too, like it's above the bullseye, right? So you would, from the next time, you would put your quiv, or what would it call it? Like whatever the thing, right? Like the bow a bit lower to compensate or to understand, because you understood that the distance, like you shot it above the bullseye. Maybe if you reduce the you know reduce the angle, or I would say put it a bit lower on the lower side, then obviously you probably hit the bullseye this time. So that's essentially what happens in machine learning algorithms as well. Loss function tells us how far off our predictions are from actual values, our predictions, no? The model's predictions. So it tells us, or the model, how far its predictions are. Like for example, in a movie recommendation system, supposing it was supposed to recommend me a movie. Supposing it was it should have recommended me, say, La La Land, right? Supposing, just think for a second. Instead of La La Land, or I'm sorry, I haven't watched La La Land. It's just an example that popped into my head. Say it should have recommended me The Dark Knight, right? So what type of movie is The Dark Knight? It's an action movie. It's not a romantic movie. There's a lot of things associated with a movie, right? You have a general idea. It's a very popular movie. It's a very common movie. Say instead of recommending the Dark Knight, it's recommending me a Shakespearean play. You would understand that the model is very far off. The model isn't accurate at all. Instead of The Dark Knight, had it recommended me Batman Begins, I would have understood that okay, it's close, but it's not perfect. So that's better. But it's recommending me something which is far too off from the actual target, the model, right? So that's a bad prediction. And this distance is quantified by the loss function. The loss function tells the model the difference between its actual value, or the true label as we call it, and the predicted value, or the predicted label, as you can see here. So that's what the loss function is. We've got a lot more slides here, and I would not like to cover all of these right now. I'll share the presentation, and I would really encourage you guys to go through it all. And um, I think they have my number. I'm also in the group, right? You can DM me if you have any problems. You can give me a call. You have my mail as well. So do hit me up if you have any problems, and we can obviously have a discussion or have more sessions if you're more interested. But this is a very, I would say not a brief, but a very fundamental introduction to machine learning, what machine learning and artificial intelligence is, and I hope you liked it. I'll be handing over the session to Sohan. We'll be now handling the experimental part of it, like the coding part of aspect of it. But really, I hope you guys liked it. Thank you so very much.
एवरीबॉडी गॉट इट, सबको एमएल लाइक थ्योरी समझ आ गया. थ्योरी जब समझ लेते हो तो लाइक थ्योरी एक बार कर लेने के बाद ये आता है कॉन्फिडेंस कि ठीक है थ्योरी भी देख लिया अभी, मतलब अंधा तीर नहीं मार रहे, वी नो स्टफ, राइट? सो लाइक एवरीबॉडी गॉट इट, राइट? लाइक थम्स अप दे दो, थम्स अप ही दे दो,
Okay.
ठीक है.
Jishnu, I think how is the mug up issue solved? Okay. So the mug up issue is called overfitting, and it's solved by, you have a lot of methods to solve it. One would be reducing the data you feed to the model. The second one would be, sorry, not reducing, sorry, increasing the you would not fit general or the similar kind of data to the model. Instead of that, you would learn to fit a different, I would say a lot of different types of data to the model, a very well developed data set to the model. You can do that. Or what you could do is in deep, like I'm thinking what right. So for deep learning, what we do is there's a thing called dropout. There's regularization, but I'd rather not go into it because we are talking about machine learning. Let's stay here. Let's focus on that. For machine learning, what we do is, yeah, we can do not random data. I mean, like data which is not so general, data which is not so specifically associated with one class. We try to increase the data. I would say the data set variation in a way. And also there are a lot of other techniques for machine learning. I think we can also probably increase the there's also the factor where we essentially there's called something called hyperparameters, right? So in hyperparameters, these are essentially like small knobs and buttons sort of that you adjust in the machine learning model for it to perform better. Like these are small mathematical factors that you adjust in the model to perform better. Uh, but then these are some of, like, we adjust some of these knobs and stuff in the model. Like I'm calling it a knob just for your understanding. It's called a hyperparameter in machine learning terms. But then that's what we do. If you want to know the names of these hyperparameters, these are very specific to machine learning models, but the general idea would be training with more data. And I'm not going to go deep into cross validation or dropout or regularization right now. If you're more interested in the topic, then feel free to hit me up. I'll explain it in a phone call. Yeah, so that's what we do in terms of machine learning. And in terms of deep learning, if you were interested, I'm just going to mention the terms. It's nothing too complex. There's nothing too complicated. We either simplify the model, we use regularization, we use dropout. These are the three things that we typically do. Other than that, the only thing that you can do in machine learning is adjust the hyperparameters and then increase the data set.
Hmm.
एक्सरसाइज एक्सरसाइज के लिए एक्साइटेड लेट्स डू इट मंजीत का स्टार्ट हुआ लेट्स डू इट आई वांट लेट्स
Hmm.
डू इट फ्रॉम एवरीबॉडी कॉपी करके लेट्स डू इट
थम्स अप दे
प्लीज
दो गाइस, सबको एक बार करके थम्स अप। जिंदा हो ना सबको, या फिर सो गए?
आफिफ जिंदा है स्वास्थ्य का और कौन एक जन था प्लस वन फ्रॉम मंजीत ओनली मंजीत तो वेब के लिए भी इंटरेस्टेड रहता है अच्छा ठीक है सबसे आ रहा है धीरे धीरे ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है ओके ग्रेट ओ वी हैव देवाश्नु एज वेल ग्रेट ओके कंटिन्यू नाउ आई थिंक सोहन विल बी like starting with exercise part.
Yeah, hello guys. Am I audible and visible? Can you send me a thumbs up for that? Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. So we have done enough of theory. Now let's have some fun, right? I'll share my screen now. Okay. Yeah. Are you able to see the Kaggle notebook? I guess, yeah. So over here, what we can see is the definition of unsupervised learning. So again, I won't bore you with definition, so I'll just stop sharing my screen and rather I'll give you a practical example, right? So first, let's understand what's labeled data and what's unlabeled data. So for that, let's say I have these two phones, right? One's Apple, one Samsung. Now, how do you know that this is an Apple, this is a Samsung, right? It has its branding over here. And yeah, flex. Come on, it's a flex. And this has the Apple logo over here, right? So we can make out that this is an Apple iPhone, this is a Samsung phone. Well and good. Now, suppose I am blind. I can't see stuff, right? I'm blind, right? I can't see. So how will I know that these two? I can't see the labels now. I can't see the logos. I'm blind. I can't see. So I'll just touch this and I'll see. Okay, it's square. Okay, it has two cameras. Okay, I'll put it down and then I'll pick this up and then I'll see that okay, this one is kind of longer and it has its camera module is not protruding out that much and its dimensions are different. Yeah, physical features, right? So this is how we classify this. If I'm blind, now I'll just relate this with the stuff. If I'm able to see, I'm able to see the labels. So these are the labels. And if I'm not able to see, these are unlabeled for me, right? This is the fun part of the definition. Uh, so let's move into the now the technical stuff. So over here, what we can see is unsupervised learning is a type of machine learning where the model is trained on data without explicitly labeled outcomes. So here we don't have anything which is labeled. There is no target variable to predict. The primary goal is to identify patterns or structures. So for identifying patterns and structures, again, the same thing with these two, that if I get handed another similar kind of phone, let's say iPhone 13, so I'll just look at it, I'll just touch it, I'll be like, okay, this seems similar to the previous phone, so I'll just put it down with that one and group it with that one. And let's say if I get handed an S20 Ultra, I'll just take it up and I'll be like, okay, this seems similar to that one because its physical features resemble this one. So I'll put it down in another category. So here we have categorically clustered or categorically classified these two into two different forms or two different things. So that's a simple way of understanding, right? Now, again, let me show my presentation. What you can see is input data and output data. Again, we have capsicum and aubergines and onions. And over here, this is unlabeled. Like the machine doesn't know which is what. So it will just see that, okay, the capsicum, it has some distinct physical features. So let's group it in a similar group. Like, let's keep all the capsicums in a similar group. The aubergines or the brinjals, they kind of look similar. They're kind of elongated, right? So let's group them together. And the onions, they have different physical properties. So let's group them together. So what the machine has basically done, that it does not know which is what, but it has like predicted, ki, okay, these belong to the same category, these belong to the same category, and these belong to the same category. Now you may ask that, okay, this one's red and these two are green. So how did the machine know? So again, let's do this way that see the capsicum may be red in color. Okay, all three have different colors, but the other physical attributes they overpower this the factor of color. So that's why during the cluster formation or during clustering, this was not prioritized. So let's move on to the areas of unsupervised learning, right? There is obviously clustering, which I informed right now. It's like these shapes look similar, so they form one cluster. These are like diamond shapes, so they form another cluster. These are stars, so they form another cluster. Pretty simple, basic stuff. Dimensionality reduction. Okay, this is a very complex topic. I won't go into that. For a basic example, let's understand like this. I have 20 chocolate ice creams and I have 20 orange ice creams. So I pick up one ice cream of each. Like out of 20, I just pick up one. And out of 20 oranges, I pick up another. And I tell you that, okay, see, I have one of each, and others in that group is similar. It's like basically like a concept of sample space if you have done probability. I guess everybody is familiar with that. Then another thing is anomaly detection. So anomaly detection, like Somadikda was talking about outliers, right? It's like suppose let's say I want to detect a credit card company fraud, like it's a real life use case. So in this, what happens that I see the general transaction of people is like, okay, at max 1 lakh rupees, at max, that too during emergency. Now, if I see somebody drawing an amount of 1 crore from a credit card, right, I don't know whether that is sanctionable or not. I don't have much knowledge in finance, but anyways, so if I see that, then in this graph, see, let's assume this is 1 lakh 50,000, 25,000, 2 lakh somewhere. Suddenly it hits 1 crore, and then my machine will alert that, oh no, shit, this is like hitting above the benchmark rate. This is something which is not usual. So it's used in fraud detection for this way, right? So that's one thing. And there's association rule learning. Again, not too complex. For this, let's say you open Amazon, right? And you open Amazon or Flipkart, and let's say you're buying a shoe. If you go down, right, there's a slide which will tell you that with these shoes you can pair these pants and this shirt. It's a like very clever marketing strategy also. Like you can apply it for your MBA and stuff, but whatever. So yeah, this is association rule learning. Like if a person is buying a shoe, he is most likely to buy a pairing pant with that. And if he is buying a pant, he is most likely he's gonna buy a jacket or shirt or something depending on the weather. So that's basically association rule learning. Pretty simple stuff. Okay. So I have like made you understand clustering. So for clustering, like see groups similar data points into clusters. Very well. Each cluster contains points that are similar to each other. Same stuff. Now let's get into hierarchical structuring. Right. Again, let's not make it too complex and let's not get into the definition. I'll just make you understand the thing, and so you get to know what the thing is. Okay. So here I've taken a data set, right? In this data set, it says small customer.csv. Again, don't be afraid. What's there in this data set is that, let's say this is a customer ID. It's the gender of the customer, the age of the customer, the annual income. Okay. Don't go after the thing like it's written like 15, 16. It may be in some unit. We don't know, like 15K dollars or something. And spending power, the mall appoints some kind of like, if you spend this amount of money, you'll get this kind of spending points. Okay. Why have we used it, this data set? It's pretty small and it's like a practical business scenario. Like you'll get to know that, okay, this is how things work in real life rather than theory. And it's highly effective, right? Okay. It's very effective. Now, how to implement this stuff? So for implementation, right, as Samadikda said that there are various libraries. We are going to use the pandas library. We'll use the matplotlib to plot graphs and stuff, and we'll use scipy for the dendrograms. Now, for this, we'll first load the dataset. So for loading the dataset, what it basically means is that the dataset exists somewhere in a server in the internet. You can do two things. Either you can download it to your local device and you can upload it over here. Okay. Or otherwise, you can just, copy the link of the thing and you can just tell pandas to go and fetch it, right? Just copy it and pandas will go and fetch it and show it to you. And if we put data.head, like this shows you the first 10 columns and every value within the first 10 columns. You don't have to code, you just have to write this. This is a function of the pandas library. Again, let's move forward. Selecting relevant features. Again, what are features? Okay, all the columns that you see over here, these are called features. So feature is basically it's a column of the data set, and the variance of anything in any one of the column will affect the data set. Like if I like in this third column, instead of female, if I write male, the whole clustering thing will go wrong. Like for example, if I'm just clustering and like phones within 20,000, and then I suddenly put in an iPhone 16 Pro Max within that, so then it will again be an outlier. So yeah, the whole thing will go wrong. Like it will be a single point, and then moving forward it will cause errors and stuff. So no point. Okay, so why have we selected these two, like annual income and spending score? The reason is that see, customer ID, it's not that relevant. Gender, it's what we call categorical features. So what are categorical features? Categorical features, it's like categories. Like here you can categorize these into male and female. Again, annual income we have selected because yeah, it shows you about how much the person is earning and how much he can spend. Like obviously if you earn $10, you can't be spending $20 that month unless you have a credit card, obviously. But other than that, you won't be doing that if you're a sane person. So yeah, these two are very good features in order to predict. Now okay, here's the little complex part. Here we get into dendrograms. So from here, this part of the code, what it does is that this code minimizes the variances and plots the dendrogram. So this is what a dendrogram looks like. Again, one more thing, one more advice rather. Don't get into learning the code, right? You'll get this in ChatGPT. You'll get this in this thing, Pandas documentation or Scikit-learn documentation, SciPy documentation. It's already there. You know, you have to know when to implement and what to implement, rather than just jumping into coding. So okay, this is the dendrogram, and yeah, this might look scary, so let's easily do this stuff. Okay, suppose this is a point, this is another point, this is another point, this is another point, and okay, this is another point. Now if we look at these 2 points, these two points are close to each other, right? So they'll form a cluster, right? Because they're close to each other. Simple. I think you've done this in discrete maths, like the Kushkas or the Prim's algorithm. You can relate with that. So these two will form a cluster. Then if you look at these two are close to each other, so they'll form a cluster. Okay. And now if we look, okay, from here, let's say, okay, over here we have lesser distance compared to the others, so these will form a point, and ultimately the whole thing will form a huge cluster over here. So that's the basic idea behind what's going on. Now you'll say that okay, you're forming points and you're making it look easy. So what the hell is going on, right? So in order to understand that, you see all this 5, 8, 3, 5. What is this? These are data points, right? These small data points over here. You can see like these things, they are these small data points. And what you're seeing over here, these lines, okay, these lines is the other Euclidean distances. Now you'll be like, what is an Euclidean distance? Okay, Euclidean distance for formula, if I show you, it's basic. Like if you have a line and you have 2 points, so if you want to calculate the distance between 2 points, you'll use this simple formula. You've done this class 10 mathematics. Come on, this one, the x coordinate and the y coordinate, and if this the formula is wrong, it will be x1 over here, whatever. So yeah, so this line, okay, where's that? Damn. Yeah, this line over here, this line shows how far apart these 2 points are. Okay, so if I want to plot this thing, so I'll plot it like this. See, 1 point, 2 point, and let's say I'll try to keep this equal. Don't go after me for like this. So So what happens over here is that I'm telling you that the distance between these 2 points is this much, and this horizontal line shows that these two are connected. As simple as that. Now, if I want to connect like let's say this with this, I want to connect this with this. So how will I connect that? So let's say this is the third point over here. So the third point over here is over here. Okay, well and good. If I want to connect this, better I mean is lesser than the distance between all these points combined and this one. So over here, what we'll do is we'll draw a larger line over here, and we'll just connect these.
Sohan, I think your network is not
So
working properly. Can you check?
this is the simple approach. Is it okay now?
I think now it's better.
It's fine.
You
I
can
think
you can
you turn off your camera. I think it would be better.
hmm.
It will be more better.
Okay. Where did we leave off? Like, till when was it clear? If somebody can, just. Okay, never mind. Let's get into it again. So yeah, that was how we formed these dendrograms. Okay, now you'll tell me that okay, from these, how do we go to this? Like, how do we form clusters from dendrograms? So it's just very simple. I'll just take a line. Let's say I copy this image over here and I paste it over here. So what we'll need to do is we'll need to find the number of clusters. So how do we form? I mean, find the number of clusters. So in order to find the number of clusters, what we need to do is we need to draw horizontal. So over here, what we'll do is see. This is the largest horizontal line, right? This one over here is the largest one. So okay, we'll consider this. So if we move like this, then and we have to see which of the vertical lines is getting like cut the least number of times. So if we take this line is getting cut by this line, and again if we go down over here, and then again we draw another let's say vertical line. So what happens is basically if we are considering this cuts two horizontal lines, it will form two clusters. Let's say I draw one over here. So what will happen? It cuts three vertical lines. One, two, three. So it will form three clusters. So how do I know that this is the optimum number of clusters? So I'll need to find the longest vertical line over here. So the longest vertical line which is not getting cut by any other horizontal lines. So if I see properly, I'll find the longest vertical line with the most optimum number of clusters. So I'll need to find the longest vertical line, which is from here, it's the same level, it's not getting cut. And from down below, these two are in the same horizontal line. So in this graph, what you have to do is you have to identify a single line which is getting cut multiple times. Right, because if you use three clusters, what will happen? Okay, over here you might say that okay, but it was getting cut by less number of lines, so why are we doing stuff over here? The reason is that in this there is no point of concentrator. So you have to like put an optimum number of clusters. It can't be either too much or it can't be either too less. So this is what happens basically. And this is the code. Like num clusters is basically telling you that okay, this is the number of clusters and cluster f cluster. So this tells you that okay, form 5 clusters. So what it does is that see, you can see over here f cluster assigns data point and all this. I'll give you the notebook so that you'll able to get the meaning of like which thing means what in the code, right? So if you visualize this thing cluster over here, this shows that all the similarly colored points belong to the same cluster, right? This belongs to the same, this belongs to the same, this. So yeah, this is how you show variance in data using this thing, clustering. So yeah, that's it. It's pretty simple, right? There's nothing much to do. So this is basically the fun part of machine learning. So one advice from my side would be that, let's say if you consider machine learning like a tree, okay, and you have to cut it down. So rather than taking up your axe and diving into cutting it down, what you should do is spend time sharpening your axe, and then you should cut it down smoothly, right? Because first you should learn the theoretical thing, the maths which is going on. I'm not telling you to differentiate by hand. You just need to know, okay, differentiation is going on over here, integration is going on over here. That's it, right? So yeah, that's that. If anybody has any doubt, kindly say.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Can you please re-explain that clustering part in that graph which you were showing?
See, the
You were
problem is that we're exceeding the time limit. So if you want an explanation, I'll like give it in the group, or you can just call me.
Yeah, I think like everybody got what's clustering, right? Basically grouping हो रहा है. अभी logic क्या है उसके around, like you need to like tinker around and find out, right? And I think like next like किसी और को चाहिए, like besides Deep, anybody wants a repeat of that part? If you want, then like give a thumbs up, or else we can continue. If you want to continue, just write C in the chat. अभी तो like वो तो like ये आ रहा था, अभी तो ट्रेलर था, अभी अभी करने वाले हैं हम. C. Okay, we are getting C's. Continue. Deep, I think you are already in a team, so like someone can help you out.
Yeah, yeah,
no
I'll handle
problem.
it in a meeting. So that was what machine learning is basically. And then further down, you'll study about linear regression and you'll study about classification. So today, clustering is a really like not a basic topic, but it's easy to understand. Like right now, it's easy to understand. It's like you're just grouping data. That's it. That's clustering. So yeah, thank you.
Sohan, hello.
Yeah.
Listen, before you sign off, could you just explain how to like the ins and outs of Kaggle in a minute, if that's possible?
Yeah, the ins and out of Kaggle, right? Yeah, sure.
So I think a lot of people here, I would encourage you guys to use Kaggle for machine learning because it's a very good data source as well. Like you can find lots of different data sets uploaded in Kaggle, and instead of downloading it and putting it up on Collab or using an API to just you can just use a Kaggle notebook. Anyways, it has better GPUs in terms of it gives a more it is much better on the time limit aspect or side of things than Google Colab. So if you can just create a Kaggle account and go to create a notebook and use that notebook, it will be the same as an IPYNB file or a Jupyter notebook file, and use that to basically you know do all your machine learning experiments or projects. So Sohan, could you just is your screen shared?
No, actually, I'm sharing it.
Yeah, just share the screen and tell what Kaggle, just explain like the like how to navigate Kaggle. And also just tell them about your notebook. All right, that's also a very important thing, how they would experiment using your notebook. Just mention that as well. Just take
Uh,
maybe 2-3 minutes more.
Hello, Bhaiya.
Yeah, yeah.
I have one question. Like you mentioned the data set, we have to use it from Kaggle on the
Yeah,
notebook actually, na?
yeah.
So, will you be going to mention more about using that data set in any other code editors?
Yeah, so you can just simply, it's not necessary that you find your data in Kaggle. Kaggle has just a very good library, or it's a very good source of data. That's what I said. You can use obviously external data sources in Kaggle and Colab as well. And I mean, if you want to do it locally, what you simply do is download the data set. So on, could you just show the example of a data set? Could you just go to the Kaggle homepage? I think that would be easier.
Yeah, that would be easy. Okay, my net's a little messed up, so that's the
All right.
problem. Can you take over?
I
Yeah.
I'll take it. Just a second. Just give me a second, guys. It's not allowing me to share specifically Kaggle. I'll just share my entire screen. Anyways, sorry about the, yeah. So, uh, is my screen visible? I think it should be, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, this is what Kaggle is. I don't use it too extensively, but yes, it's a very good data source, like I said. So you can see, you can go here and then there's create. You can just create an account firstly. I would also suggest people to link their mobile number to the Kaggle account. That gives you, because that verifies your account and it gives you a lot more training time for the, it gives you access to TPU as well and gives you a bit more training time. So if you want to, you can just verify your account by adding your phone number. That's just a suggestion. So what I would ask you to do is just go to here, create, and create a notebook, or you can go to create a data set if you want to create or upload a data set of your own. That's not necessary here. You can just go to create a notebook, or what you could do is just go to say, like, I was working on this a few days ago. So this is just a data set that someone uploaded to Kaggle. You can just search. All right, I'll just show you some examples. All right. So say I want to just do a very basic ML project of, um, say there's a very common name project called Titanic dataset. Okay, this is the Titanic dataset, or you can just look it up. So there are notebooks where people have already implemented different codes approaches to it. So basically, you can go here and then look into the different notebooks people have already done, or you could just simply go here, data sets, and you can obviously sort here and everything, or you can just, let's say I'll just go for this one since it's easy to understand. You can read the metadata here and everything else is present. This is the, I would say, an overview of the data, right? These are the different rows, these are different rows, and these are the different columns. What I would like you guys to do is, if you want to work on this locally, you can just download the dataset and then just simply use VS Code or whatever you want, or you can just re-upload it to Collab or use an API if you want. For Collab, for Kaggle, all you have to do is just press on here, new notebook. So just press on this, and what it does, it creates a new notebook for you, and it sort of includes the data set, like it attaches the data set to the notebook, right? And all you've got to do is, you can also attach more data sets, like if you want, like say 5 data sets attached to one notebook, you can just go to add input, data set, and say, just for example, I'm also giving like heart disease, right? Very basic data set, so you just add that as well, and that is added here, right? So you can see that the data sets that are added here, so data sets, heart disease, and then there's, sorry, test file, this is the Titanic one, right? So and here we have accelerator. We can use select GPU or TPU. Just go for GPU if you want to do deep learning, but since we will be handling machine learning as of right now, we'll just go for none. And then there's Python or R, go for Python. Persistence is just if you want to save the notebook down the line, you can just go for variables and files. It will save the entire notebook, like the entire, like the variables as well in the output of the notebook, or you can just go for no persistence if you don't really need it. And then the environment obviously would be like latest environment. I'd suggest doing that. Anyways, so all you've got to do to start working here is just press on start session. It'll automatically start the session and include the data sources. So the session is, I think, almost started. Let's just wait for a couple of seconds here, and then it should start immediately. Right, it's started, right? See, you can see the session duration, the amount of disk space it's using, the CPU utilization, and it's weird that it's high, but anyways, right. So you can just start working here, and these are the two data sets that are attached to it. You can see, and you can just simply start working on the data here itself. You can include new data blocks or lines of code down the line, and you can sort of see and look as you go for the output. That's how an IPYNB is, I think, more beneficial than a .py file, that you can see and procedurally look at the outputs while you're working on the data set, or doing a machine learning project. what I would suggest you guys to do is download. We would be uploading and we'll be providing you links to the notebook as well as the clustering notebook as well as the PPT that I used. Go through both of them. I will be. Jishnu, is it possible to give? Should we do the GitHub thing like besides the
Yes, I think like what we can do is you share the notebooks with me, right? तुम अगर एक
right?
open करके दिखा के show them how to
Uh,
tinker with it, right? Like
okay,
for like a live demo, then it will be
right,
great.
right.
तो अभी सभी सभी साथ में करेंगे मस्त.
Yes, I'll
Okay.
do that. Just a second. I'll remove the data sets if that's. So yeah, what you can do is you can import a notebook like you've got a say. mm, Say you've got a got a notebook saved somewhere in your computer, or you've like the notebook will provide that you can download it, and basically say I've got a notebook like right now, like say I want to like import the notebook. One second, let me just so what you can do is you can directly go from like this is you can do this as well. You can do go from directly import it from GitHub as well, right? Sorry, you can the code will like the notebook will be uploaded on GitHub as well. You can directly import from there, but as of right now I'll just show you how to do it from your computer. You can simply just go for this and say this is a project. Say let's do this one. This note I'll use this notebook for the NLP thing, so it's much data later down the line. So what you do is just click on import notebook and it will be like loading the notebook, including the data sets as well. So that's very beneficial. It takes a little bit of time, but it's practically very easy. You just go to file and then upload notebook, and then you just simply upload the notebook, right? It's very easy, it's very practical. Yeah. So everything will be updated according to the notebook's environment, right? Like the uploaded notebook's environment. Including the accelerator and everything else as well. So see, as you can see, the notebook is properly loaded, including the outputs as well. So that's something which you can experiment with. And what I would encourage you guys to do is for the notebooks that we do provide, uh, you should go through it cell block like the block by block and try to understand at least on a like a higher level at what at to as to what each block essentially achieves or does. So that is something which I would really like you guys to do in your free time. So you could just look at this and see what this block essentially does. What you would ideally do is you would import the notebook and then you would play around with it. You would sort of change the code and see where it goes. You can sort of change this 2 to 3 and see where it goes. It's you should understand, obviously it should make sense, but then you can sort of experiment and play around to see where it leads to. So you can print different stuff, you can print out visualizations, graphs, etc., and so your task
Guys,
for the
I've
next step.
shared like the notebook link in the WhatsApp. What you guys can do now is Kaggle सभी खोलो, ठीक है? Kaggle खोलो and import
Yeah.
that notebook. अगर इधर तक notebook import करते तक किसी का हो जाए तो give a done in the chat. Okay?
Yeah, so I'll be waiting. In that case, I'll stop my screen sharing. I'll be waiting for you guys. I'll also import the notebook
Let's
in the meantime.
like as अभी जो like Sohan was showing one unsupervised learning. I've shared that notebook. Okay, guys. Yeah, this notebook will be available later also. Website में upload हो जाएगा. So अभी क्या करो सभी के लिए यही टास्क है for the like 40 I guess like excluding like 35 folks who are here. I'd like all of you to open Kaggle and import the shared notebook that's in the WhatsApp group. I've shared the notebook in the WhatsApp. So if you guys just download it and upload it to Kaggle, like check करो चल रहा है कि नहीं.
Yeah, just create an account in Kaggle, download the notebook, and upload the notebook. That's it. And do share if you have any problems or confusions regarding the same.
Shrimati, I think like if you can like do that from scratch from on your end also कि लोग देख जाए कैसे करें
Acha,
from like home page
sure.
to like you can repeat that step.
Okay, sure. Just let me download it. Temporary, stop screen sharing. Let me download the notebook.
What is the license?
Sorry, sorry.
It is asking for some license. So what is it?
License. Can you just if you
Can you share your screen?
I guess I uploaded data set. Wait. Mm,
Nice. Devashnu is done.
yeah. Can you see? Showing license.
That's something you can choose anything. Oh, issue
Hello.
name.
oh
Hi.
I think Shuk got
uh
excited. But okay.
sorry, I think you're doing a mistake. You're uploading data instead of importing data.
Okay.
So you would want to cancel out of it. Yes, press on continue. So go to file,
Oh,
press on import notebook. Yeah, now just drop the notebook or import it.
thanks.
Yeah, nice. Saikat done और done. दिखाओ दिखाओ. एटलीस्ट और 4-5 दिन done दो तब पता चलता है कि कुछ हो तो रहा है. And we'll move on to the
All
next step,
right.
that is the
Should
tinkering
I,
part.
Vishnu, should I share my screen and show how it's
Yeah,
done?
yes, redo the part.
All right, just give me one second.
Yes, Shriyadi done.
Is
Nice.
the
Surajit done.
screen visible?
Manjit done. Yes, screen is
All right.
visible.
Just go here. All right. I think we have options to. Anyways, let's just create a new notebook. Create and then new notebook. Again, create new notebook, and that makes you land up on this page. Press on file. Just so sorry. Press on file here and then import notebook. So you're importing a notebook, right? You're not uploading anything. You import a notebook. You press on browse files, or you just simply drag the notebook that you've downloaded to here, and then just press on import. That's all you need to do.
Everybody got the notebook, right? So WhatsApp group में तो हो. You guys want it in a link format or something? Downloadable link कर दे, drive में upload कर दे. कोई issue है? Like just say, ठीक है, download नहीं हो पा रहा. WhatsApp device issue ये सब वो सब. But if you guys are done with this part, ये देखो, like whatever was taught today is already there in a notebook. What you can do is, like, if you go to like the last part, you will see the actual code. You can start tinkering around with it. Uh, what to
You can,
tinker with?
yeah, you should sort of, try out different, things with the code, and I think it's very well documented as well. So you can, print out different stuff, and then here we basically, so this session is not. Mm, so again, let me be very clear. Machine learning as a subject is something which you cannot do from scratch, essentially because you have to got to use these libraries, right? Deep learning, on the other hand, you can do a lot. Like you can define the architectures, you can work a lot from scratch. But machine learning, you've got it's the actual model fitting part is very basic. So the way you train the model is very basic. The more you delve into more complicated stuff, the complexity of the code obviously increases. But then machine learning would be something which is easily doable for a lot of people. So I would really encourage you guys to sort of look into the different stuff here. And also just to Sohan, did you talk about X and Y here? Did you tell them what X and Y represents?
No, I skipped that part.
All right. I'll just tell you some naming conventions that we have in machine learning code. Obviously, you can name anything you want, but there's obviously a there's a naming convention it should maintain for better readability. So X in machine learning, or X train, or X test, the moment you see X in terms of machine learning, means the data which is the input data to the or the feature or the parameters, like I said. So like you see, x here is the input to the model or input to the machine learning. So see, these represent these values, these features, these are in x, and then y would be the output of the machine learning model. So x, for example, in the movie recommendation system, x would be the age of the user, the amount of movies watched, what you like to watch, the whatever, etc questions, and then the output or y would be the recommended movie that you should watch, that the program recommends you to watch. That would be y. Also, very weird thing that machine learning engineers or people who code tend to do is we use capital X and small y. I don't know why that is, but it's something that we do. So you can use a capital Y if you want, but that's a thing that has been followed throughout. I don't know, ancient times. So probably should use that.
I
So
see that
I don't
we
know
have
why it
got
is.
some done in the chat. So
We
like,
got
can you like I've seen that this notebook focuses on like two features, that is
hmm,
annual income and I think the other was
spending.
spending something. So
Yes.
like, can you like change the features and like do this like, can you show how to like run it with other features? Like I want to see a different result from the one that's already there. Is it possible?
Let me just check how many. I'm sorry. What the hell? I think yeah, this is much better. Uh, Sohan, how much time did it take for you to run this whole thing?
Some 12.3 seconds or something.
Good.
So shortcut, Control Shift Enter. What was the shortcut
Yeah,
for running a cell?
shift enter.
Shift Enter. So basically, after you like click on a cell, you run it and you wait for it to like for its
Execute, or
execution.
I just, if I'm confident about the entire notebook or I do not need to make any changes, I just go here and press run all. So you can do either if you want. Like you will just okay. Just a second. Acha, so this is a common issue that you would probably like see in a lot of mm, notebooks and stuff. What essentially happens is, and they haven't addressed this yet, you would see that in spite of loading, this happens only when you import a notebook. I should have said this, I'm sorry. So it doesn't import the data set even if it shows it to shows it here. It probably doesn't import the data set, so it's better that you just remove it and go to add input. And sorry, hey, so on, what was the name of the data set? Something like customer
It
segmentation.
was, I guess, small dataset.csv or something. Wait a
No, no,
second.
no. What's the let
Mall
me
customers.csv.
Acha, wait, a customer segmentation tutorial, I think this was. All right, just a second. Yeah, this one. Now let's check. Hopefully that's fixed. If it doesn't, I need to re-download this notebook and upload it again. It happens quite often, and more often than I'd like to admit. Okay, it's not solving the issue. I don't know why. Sohan, path
Yeah,
is correct, no? What's the issue here?
yeah, path is correct. Like
That's
it
what I'm
ran
saying.
that time.
It's obviously it will run the path. I'm like literally copying it from here.
Hmm.
Shouldn't
Like it's
give any
something
issue.
up with
It's
Kaggle. Rather,
yeah, it's like no file or directory, but then it's imported here.
it's there.
Yeah, it's there. So okay, fine. Let's do something else. I'll just create a new notebook, and what I'll do is just a second. So let me just add input, and then let's go for again. What was the name of the? Anyways, 1 second, please. Sorry about this error. It's a very. I think we've got the link. Let's just do this. All right, new notebook. Better. Much better. This should hopefully. We can also run this to check if the data set is present or not. So this happens very often actually, especially when you're working with like notebooks which are, which have a lot of visualizations, because apparently Kaggle can't handle them, but then it is what it is. Just restart the notebook or create a new one, upload it, or just manually copy the code. Yeah, so it's there now. So hopefully this time doesn't give any issue. Yeah, this time it's working. So right, as we can see here, like let me just here what we did was we took annual income, this column, and then the spending score. What we can also do, for instance, is take age as a feature as well. So let me just include age in. Okay, age spending score is, oh sorry, I forgot the
Is
comma.
missing.
Yeah. Let me just show you what X looks like. Oh sorry, it's an array, right? Can't really print out that one. What I can do here is, it's just simply, what it does is, it's selecting only these columns. So it's selecting annual income, it's selecting age, and it's selecting the spending score, these three columns. What I can do is, let's create the dendrogram. Dendrogram would be the same, obviously. What I would like you guys to do is, so for this, just go to the documentation for dendrograms in Python and look at what hyperparameters are there. These are some of the hyperparameters, as you can see. Leaf font size, obviously not really important. Leaf rotation, p equals 30. I'm not sure what this p represents. You can check the documentation if you want. And then these are like truncate mode. We pass the linkage matrix, which we created here, through to the dendrogram as a parameter into this function, which creates this, right? It's obviously the same. I don't think visually we would see anything different, but obviously, I mean, the clusters would be obviously cluster labels to the data. So what we're doing is we're creating 5 clusters. So for instance, what we could do is we could increase this to 10. It should work. Yeah. Let us see. See, it's different. But we are so on, you just considered spending score and annual income, right?
Yeah.
So I think all of you guys understand that if you want to include age in it as well, we would obviously have to this is obviously a one like a 2D graph. Then the other one would be in 3D if we consider age. What we could do is we could use PC or dimensional reduction or TCNE plot to sort of bring it back to 2D, but that's something which is
और
more.
like you can just remove like see अभी तो like हम लोग experiment कर रहे हैं तो instead of like if 3 features are giving issues you can work with 2, right? Can we do age and spending?
Can we do age and spending? Let me see. Clusters, these are max cluster. All right, these are the, obviously check documentation to check about the hyperparameters. Just check. Did you pass the entire? Just a second. these clusters. Right, you're creating these clusters with the linkage matrix and number of clusters being passed. So maybe in a linkage
Meanwhile, like
matrix.
while Somatik is figuring it out, guys, if you guys have any issues
So
till the notebook running
we
part,
can
okay,
do
वो
this
भी chat
simply.
में दे दो.
So what you said is annual income and age, or spending score and age? Which one?
Anything, like just change it up. जो notebook है, like I want like the everybody
I mean, it is
participating to
different
like.
this time. I mean, you guys understand. Like, okay, I'll do this. I'll do this for you. Let me do this. So this time around, we'll just consider annual income and age, right? We'll see the relationships between, like, not relationships. We'll try to group annual income and age as the two possible parameters in this, right? We generate the dendrograms. We create instead of 10 clusters, we create 5 clusters just to compare between the two diagrams. So 5 groups, like 5 clusters or 5 groupings of data would be created like this, but then the cluster will be essentially different. So here we took what we did, what we took was annual income and age. So obviously annual income and not spending score, the graph would just say age. See, it's different. So essentially it has grouped the data this time based on age and annual income instead of annual income and spending score. So you can compare between the two graphs, and you can also experiment. Say instead of 5 clusters here, I'd want 10, or say 20. But you can obviously understand that the more clusters you know the higher number of clusters you go to, obviously the data would you would obviously figure out the optimal number of clusters. But then I'm obviously experimenting here, so that's not really something I'm concerned about. uh, Sohan, what's the maximum number of clusters which you can make using this data set? Is there any
No, there's not any maximum, but
there's no
that then again the variance will vary.
I mean, obviously, but then you would obviously have to figure out the optimal one of the optimal number of
Yeah, yeah,
clusters
yeah.
as well, right?
The
Right, so
optimal is
that
three
is
or five. You can work with that.
optimal is 3 or 5. Let's do 3 just in. But again, we should remember that the optimal for that was different. Anyways, this is good. So you can see that these are 3 groups or groupings created. The model has essentially grouped these data points into 3 distinct, I would say, groups or no, classes. We don't label them, but these are the 3 groups that has been clearly and visually it has been separated. Also, let's say this time around we can simply do, instead of uh, annual income, we do age and say gender. So but no, just a sec, we can't do gender here because we have to encode the value. So male and female is here, right? We can't use male and female directly. Probably give an error, right? Just check. Yep, could not convert string to float, male. So basically obviously would have to pass a numerical value. If you encode it, it's pretty. Anyways, would not go for that one. Let's just go for age and sorry, spending score. What did you just do that, or was it? Yeah, it is annual income spending score. This time it will work properly. And say we've got 3 clusters. So this is the diagram that we generate. You can obviously understand that these data points represent one row. This is, let me just cancel this out. So you can understand this. Let's say this, we take this. I don't think this low. Okay, this one data point, it represents a specific row in the data frame, right? And it essentially it figures out the x and y coordinates, which is pretty simple because you've got just 2 features, which are spending score and age, and then you place it here. And then what the machine learning algorithm does, it simply groups the data. So obviously this would not be grouped with this because the distance, Euclidean distance and everything. This would obviously group with something which is similar, which is this. So I would give you just a small insight into what happens into recommendation systems as well. um, so for recommendation systems, you can obviously implement it in different ways, but one of the easiest ways I've seen is something like this. Say you've got 2 features of a movie. See, it's the age of a movie, or like the number of years, like the, the how many years old it is. We can call it age, whatever, and then the income that it generated, something like that. Let's say any two features of a movie, and you can generate do this very same with that as well. So it would group similar movies together. Now if you ask a user who's not, who doesn't know anything about these movies, okay, would you like to be suggested a movie, or like, you can just place the user anywhere in the whole 2D space, and then figure out what the closest movie to that point is, and then suggest a movie based on that. Recommendation system also works in similar, ways. So we've got different ways, but that is one of the, I would say, easiest ways to, you know basically implement a recommendation system as well. There are lots of different uses of clustering systems.
Hmm. So like I think like everybody got it till now. अभी like
Hopefully,
what
got any doubt?
अभी
Have you?
अभी तक I guess सभी का notebook load हो गया है. Like I want all of you guys to do two thing, that is change the number of clusters जो उससे लिखा है, just एक variable name मतलब variable का value change करना है, and also like change just like Somarik did, change it from like you can like find multiple combinations, right? There are three features that you can work with. Either you can work with can you like that is the age and annual income,
Yeah,
spending score,
annual
or age
spending.
and spending, like you can go for any combination.
Hmm.
Complete, like try doing it, and if you guys face any issues, like I think we'll stay here till 9 at max. If you guys face any issues, like
Any
just drop
issues?
in the
Yeah,
chat.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Also, just last thing I'd like to mention is, guys, don't use customer ID, right? Because essentially that wouldn't really, that's not, see, this is the difference between noise, between data and, like, no, noisy information. So this isn't data at all. This isn't giving me any information about this specific row except the order. It's not really, doesn't really matter to me, because you can just drop this entirely. So you don't just use customer ID. It would be some random, visualization, because that wouldn't really matter anyways. Keep that in your mind, okay, while you're doing clustering. Also, do keep in mind that we obviously, this is something which is very, like, a very small data frame. When you do clustering, it would probably be something like, I've done projects where it's something like 400 500 columns. Obviously you wouldn't go and manually read each one of them, but you would have a general idea of what each of those columns would represent, and then you would basically group the data according to it. So it's not just in 2D, but in that case you wouldn't be able to physically generate a graph with that, because obviously that would be something like, this is two-dimensional and that is what, like 450 dimensional, 500 dimensional. Obviously you would have to use, that is where dimensionality reduction comes in. Basically it will help you to reduce that like very complex graph down to something like a 2D graph. But obviously you would lose some information, but then you would be able to represent it in a graphical way like that, or for better understanding of the data.
गाइस समझ गए? फीचर्स ऑल्टरनेट करो, क्लस्टर्स का नंबर इधर उधर करो. जिसका हो गया चैट में लिखो. मतलब प्रो, एमएल प्रो नहीं हो प्रो, बट लिखने तो स्टार्ट करो. टेकिंग द फर्स्ट स्टेप, राइट? इट्स अ सिंपल टास्क. चेंज द features and change the number of clusters. That's it. If you guys are done with it, you are done in the chat. Anybody facing any issues, just write in the chat. We'll ask you to share your screen and we'll help you out. If you guys are not done with it, I want to know at least कोई try कर रहा है, ठीक है? Just try trying. Okay, Anandita is there. Anandita, can you share your screen? And Somati, we have
Yeah,
two
the
questions.
feature is this thing, case sensitive.
Uh-huh.
No, it is in the chat. Like, is the feature case sensitive? Yes, the name of the feature
Yeah,
is
yeah, it's
case
a variable,
sensitive.
right? So it's not a, like, yeah.
Anandita, you can share your screen. Yeah, great.
It is showing this error.
Oh, you haven't imported the correct libraries, like correct. Let me just.
Can you
Just,
move up a little?
yeah, yeah. Can you just move up a
Yes,
little?
yes.
Uh, Right, so you haven't attached the input, right?
Okay, so what should I do now?
You should sign in first off to Kaggle. Then you should like you should create an account of in Kaggle. And let me just check if they give you the option of can you just move up on the right side of the screen, like on the no input attached part of the screen? No, 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 on the right side of the screen, please. Okay, so they give you the option. Okay, so just go for add input. So you need to add the data set to the notebook, right?
Okay.
Just type in the name of the data set is customer segmentation tutorial.
Somadip, can you
CUSTOML.
do one thing? Like paste it in the chat so that if anybody else is also facing
Acha.
the
It's
same
it's
issue.
there in the it's there in the notebook, but I'll still paste the link of the note of the thing in the chat of the data set. Sorry, customer segment. It's there in the chat. Please, just if you want to, or you can't. You can just. So if you want to just import that,
This
yeah,
one.
yep. I think that one. Just check. Oh yeah, that one. So I think just take. Yeah, it's done. You can just cross out the add input screen and you can probably see the data set has been attached to the notebook, right? You
This
can
one.
run the, yes. You should also, you've got, forgot, if not imported the necessary libraries. So could you just do that, please? You can just refer to the code that was provided. That's going to have an import. Like,
This one.
no, you can just
No, no, the
out.
first this thing cell.
It should be something like from X import Y, something like that. That's the general format in Python, right? Can you just move up a little bit?
Yes.
A
This one.
bit
A
more.
little,
No, no, no.
no, no,
Should
a
be
bit more.
for the code. It should the inputs will be at the above. Yeah, that one.
See, importing is given over there. Like, look at the heading. Step one.
Import necessary libraries. It's the yeah
This
that
one.
one. Yes,
Yeah,
you've got to copy the entire thing.
it's a step-by-step process, right? If you're copy pasting, kindly follow the steps. Otherwise, it
Yeah,
won't work.
it's you can't just like no, 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 no. You can't. So what? Can you just delete that cell? Like it's on the right side of this. Like
Okay.
yes, as a just an example. Move up. It should be on the top of your notebook. Always, guys. The import thing should be on the top right or on the top of the notebook. So what I would suggest to do here is like press on the first. Just press on the first. No, the first cell. Like the first cell. Yes, that one. You can just put it there if you want. You can just select and delete. Yeah, that one. That one.
I have to copy
Click.
this whole
No, no, you
thing.
just have to delete the whole thing and present in the cell and then paste that what was given, right? The input statements.
सेल में क्लिक करो कंट्रोल है बैकस्पेस
No, no, no. She'll not like the cell has to be.
oh
Oh shit.
डू वन थिंग साइन इन इशू इसलिए आ रहा है बहुत चीजें फीचर्स तुम्हारे ये हो जा रहे
Yeah,
Okay.
I've got to sign in, right? If
हैं
you want to, you
लाइक
can stop sharing the screen and then sign in and then.
till then anybody facing any similar kind of issues सबका इंपोर्ट हो गया है रन हो रहा है राइट जितना कोड दिया है इनपुट डेटा इशू फिक्स नाइस और किसी को एनी इश्यूज
कोई इश्यूज है मैसेज कर दो डन या तो लिख दो अगर हो गया तो
या
Yes. Also, if after this session you face any issues, simply either contact. You can contact any of
like
the.
you can like ask your POC for help you can drop a message in the chat discord है और हम लोग like yes by like today's Saturday by Monday you will be like getting your technical POCs also like the guys who will be actually helping you throughout the project after like 20 So like they will be assigned to you and they will be also helping out. Okay, Saikat, share your screen.
showing name error.
May I share screen because I got fixed. मतलब the input वाला जो issue था, you have to just click on one button. That's it.
Uh,
मतलब समझा नहीं.
वो input वाला जो issue था, input data, you don't have to go to actually put the whole name, create a new notebook, nothing. जो import किया वहीं पर हो जाएगा.
अच्छा, मतलब तू नोटबुक इंपोर्ट करने के बाद कैसे ये करते हैं बोल रहे तो.
Yes.
अच्छा हाँ, रुक जा सैकत क्या, रुको. सैकत का
सैकत
इशू
का ही
क्या
देख
था.
लेते हैं.
सैकत का
हाँ,
दिल
उसको
उसके
बोल
बाद.
देते हैं.
सैकत उसके बाद हो जाए ये जा.
नहीं, उसी में solve कर देते हैं, I guess.
ठीक है, सैकत शेयर योर स्क्रीन.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, it is showing it. I'm here, it is an error and all.
Okay. वो Google Meet का वो जो right side pop-up है, close that.
Hmm.
Scroll up, cross this
again,
thing,
it's the same issue.
add input.
You've got to.
Yeah, I will share the matlab like what I have done, how it's solved. Don't delete any
No, no.
line. Just
You just
add
move
input,
up.
remove it. In the top
Where?
right corner, add input.
He hasn't. No, no. The input
Just
is
import
there.
Yeah.
it.
No, 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 no. The input is there. What?
Yeah,
No,
input
no.
is already there, but
What
I
the
want to go back to the default picture.
Huh?
This add input you
रुक
have
जा
written, no,
मंजित,
like
इसको
add
रुक जा
input.
मंजित रुक जा. इसको फिक्स कर लेना, देन विल कम टू यू. ओके, ठीक है. देवाश्म इज डन, ग्रेट. Somebody continue with
You've missed. Yeah. So you've missed the import statements. Please. You just.
Pandas is there, right?
Right. So can you just run it
He
for me?
hasn't run them before going forward.
Oh,
Can you kindly run the cell and then move forward?
Yeah. Run this cell once.
yeah, run.
Now could you just run the that one?
File not found.
Okay. So it's the same error.
It's the
The one
input
I
issue.
missed. It's the input. Import issue. So what I'd suggest you to do is just press on the data set once. Like on the right side of the screen, you've got the data set, right? Press on it. Click on it.
Yeah.
Um, like open it in a new tab that's given. No, it should be there. There should be an option written. Open it in a new tab. Press on it. Yeah. No, no,
Wait.
no. Um, it should be there, right? What the hell? No, not right click. It's left click. There.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry. Press on new notebook. Sorry, guys. This is something apparently Kaggle has, but
Oh, I got it.
Right.
So I have to copy the code and then run it.
yes, you've just got to copy
Yeah.
the code and it'll run properly this time around.
I
But
think
you've got
Manjeet
to.
figured out like a workaround. मंजीत यही सॉल्व कर रहा था तुम.
Yes.
Acha.
Okay, now share your screen and do it.
Okay, let me.
Yeah, it should work this time now.
Is my screen visible?
Yes,
Yeah,
Skepsis
it's
का would
visible.
at his work.
So what I have done, like I just imported the notebook. All right. I also faced the issue like the error part. Step one is where step this is step one. After running this, in this one I will not face issue. I will face the issue in this step 2 1. So simply यहाँ पर data set. This one is the data set. I will go to the this three dot. I will just pin to the version. This clicking on this pin to version, like pin to the latest and continue. And you will see that for me it has already been done. So after you will doing it, it will restart the whole session and the input will be implemented into your notebook. You don't have to go
Guys,
to
try this
separate
out.
like
किसी
यहाँ
का
पर
अगर इनपुट का इशू था तो वही ट्राई करके देखो. 3 dots.
datasets, 3 dots, pin to version. and continue. Again repeating datasets, three dots, pin to version, continue.
Got it, Saikat. Is this fixing your error or else like somebody fixed your error? Like कोई भी method से error fix हुआ, Saikat?
Well, let me try the second one. Then I'm.
Sure, sure. Anybody facing anything else except input issue? अगर इधर तक हो गया है, like if you have done importing input वगैरह resolved हो गया, तो like you guys just have one task, that is to change the features and increase the tinker with the number of clusters. ओके, क्लस्टर्स के लिए तुम लोग को एक ही वेरिएबल चेंज करना है, अभी कौन सा करना है वो लिखा हुआ है, उतना नहीं बोलना होता, बट हाँ यू कैन जस्ट ट्राई चेंजिंग
Yeah,
दैट.
fixed.
ओके ग्रेट. Okay, now Saikat ka bhi done hai. Devashnu, like you have done, like you have changed the features and the number of clusters. Are you here, Devashnu?
Yes, भैया. ये देवांशु, not देवांशु.
रुको, देवाशनु पॉल, अच्छा तुम ही हो
देवांशु,
देवाशनु.
देवांशु.
देवांशु, ओके ग्रेट. आई थॉट यू वर देवाशनु. ठीक है, तुमने कर लिया ना, लाइक यू हैव
हाँ
डन
हाँ,
इट. कैन
मैंने
यू शेयर?
कोलैब में किया था पहले भी.
अच्छा ग्रेट,
गिट
लाइक
से
यू.
बहुत सारा लिया था, तो उससे बहुत सारा प्रेडिक्शन वाले भी किए थे मैंने.
Acha, experience guy, I see. Great. So, like, can you share your screen, like, what have you done, so like others can see?
ओके.
हाँ, Srijita, wait, थोड़ा रुक जाओ. With the importing thing and then changing the parameter. Okay, Srijita needs help. We'll come to Srijita next. Devanshu, Devanshu and Devashnu, bhai. Okay. So, have you changed the like the features? नीचे.
बस ये लगा थोड़ा सा नहीं था उसके अंदर, लगता है एनुअल इनकम.
हाँ, तो like try changing annual income or like spending score to age. Okay, like change one of those values.
Okay.
And like the like number of clusters. Number of clusters by default was I think 5 or something. So try changing it to 3, 6, 4. I don't know. Like change it. या टिंकर करके देखो बस.
Okay.
Okay. Next up Srijita, आ जाओ. क्या करना है तुमको, क्या
माफ
लिखना
कर
है?
दूं.
हाँ, like good job. Like it's running.
Is it visible?
Yes. Srijita is consistent. Nice. ऊपर इस द सेम इशू, वही तो. क्लोज दैट. ये क्या नया नोटबुक बनाया तुमने या लाइक इंपोर्टेड?
Imported.
ओके. ऐड इंपोर्ट. इंपोर्ट में यू लाइक
Pin
डिड
to
द.
version karo. That's better.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Yeah, can you just press Control and then scroll down? I think वो option तब दिखेगा शायद. Press on Control and then scroll down on your mouse wheel. No, like
Basically,
don't.
on the top right corner, just
It's
close
not
that
coming.
add
Right?
input.
Acha, it's
It will
oh,
come.
sorry, it's on the add input screen.
Oh,
I thought it was because it was
add
like
input. There is a cross right on the top right corner. Top right
on the
corner.
top
Manju?
right, on the top right.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah.
In the data set, just hover over it. Can you see the three dots at the end?
No,
Yeah.
for the
ऊपर
datasets, not notebooks.
Yeah. Yes. Click on it. Pin to version. Last option. Continue.
Yeah. Now
All right.
press on run all. Yes. Thank you, Manjeet. In fact, I
Thanks,
mean,
bro. Welcome.
Yeah, you've helped out a lot. Many thanks.
yeah.
Welcome, bro.
Load the dataset. It should probably work now. Just check the end of the notebook, please. Yes, it's working. Great job.
Next, what I have to do?
Nothing. You've just got to when you're free, like you've got to tinker around. Like for example, can you just move up a little bit?
हाँ,
Like a
वो
little.
पैरामीटर चेंजिंग वाला दिखा दो आफ्टर आई
हाँ, वही बोलो.
कैलकुलेट.
So click on there's a variable called num clusters, right? You can see it,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
that represents the number of clusters which you are like sort of you know making, right? You can see there are 5 clusters now. So
yes.
increase that to say 3 clusters. Like sorry, decrease it to 3 clusters. Say not increasing it. Now run the code. Press on Shift Enter, or don't press on Run All. Press on Shift Enter to run a cell block, and the next one as well, please. Keep pressing Shift Enter till you reach down like that. I like to do that. Check if it's executed. No, no, no. Check if it's executed. You should scroll down. Yes. What? Wait a second. Yeah, there are 3 clusters. Yes. You can see how many
Yeah, cycle.
colors
If you're done with it, if anybody's done with it, like
clusters.
Afia, Swastika, you guys are done with it,
You
great.
can adjust that and sort of check. And after you guys are all done, okay, fine. Sorry, sharing the screen. Srijita, if you're done, can you just do something and show to the others as well? Can you download the notebook and show? Like, can you press on file again? If that's okay. Click on download notebook, and that's all. So guys, after you're done experimenting with the notebook, download the notebook, which doesn't have any issues. If you have issues, let us know. If you do not, download the notebook and especially like save it, and we'll upload it on GitHub as well. So you can also directly export this to GitHub, but I think downloading and keeping a copy on the local machine is always a good thing. Thank you, Srijita. You can stop sharing your screen.
Anandita,
Mine
share your
is
screen.
not working. Yes. Yeah, what's the issue? Yeah, it's working as expected. What's the problem? You should like add the cell, right? Anandita, could you just add the remaining like cell blocks? You just added 2, right? Could you add the rest? There are like a lot more, right? It's working as expected.
Like you, तुम आधा काम करके like बोलो कि नहीं चल रहा है. Like the
Huh.
like till the part you have done, it's working. अभी तुम्हारा error
Just
नहीं
press
है.
on
It's like you
Control A.
have just work left. Okay. Like तुम अगर like एक एक करके करना चाहते हो, that's fine. But like the quicker way would have been to like just तुमने sign in कर लिया, right? हाँ. I think you have signed in now. Great.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
working. See?
you can just add like the notebook entirely. एक ही बार में चल जाएगा फिर.
Yeah, you better to do that, right? Just press on File, press on Import Notebook, and then basically import the notebook. It's always better to pin the version, so I guess she'll have to do that. So you pin the version first, like, do you do that? Uh, just press on like a click, like you see the right side of the screen where the data set is. Uh, just hover on top of that. There should be, yeah, pin the version from there. Press on it, pin to version, and then yes, do that, and then press on run all. This time I think it should execute perfectly as expected. You can check, I think it's done. Yes, great job. You can see there are 5 clusters, 5 distinct colors of clusters, 5 groups, right? So essentially we've created 5 groups without knowing what group it should have been in, right? That's what this algorithm essentially achieves. You can also experiment. Can you just for sure, can you just make it 3 clusters instead of 5 and run it back, please? If you want help, it's on the previous cell block. You can move to, like, you can scroll up. There should be a variable called n clusters. You can just decrease its value from 5 to 3 and you can recheck. And also the code might seem a little bit daunting. It's nothing. It's just, Python. If you just go through Python documentation, it should be very clear to you. So instead of, okay, fine. You can see there are 3 distinct mm, groups now, right? You can also, let's say, increase it to 10 and then experiment. There should be 10 different colors this time. If you move the 3 up to a 10, for instance. That's how you experiment. You can also do hyperparameter tuning.
Can you like change वो मतलब एक बात बोलो like for like changing the features like वही एक लाइन में changes करना है कि और भी कुछ कुछ changes करना है?
No, for one line only.
नहीं,
This one
इनपुट
is
लाइन में बस एक लाइन.
हाँ, okay. So like वो भी करवा दो.
Acha. So for that, what you need to do is, can you just move up a little bit more? I think. Acha, no, it's above. It's above. Yes. Move a little bit more up, like. Yeah, no, a little bit low, like, no, down, a little bit below that. Yes, that's the cell you want to. So you can see, no, the one above that, the small one, yeah. So you can see the features that we are considering is annual income and spending score, right? So instead of spending score, just type in AGE, age with A capital. Just like, yes, just put AGE and rerun the entire thing, like press on run all. If you go down and if you like notice the visualization, you'd see that that's different this time around. But one small thing you do have to change, it doesn't really, so what you can do is basically you can also change the label in the graph. That also you can do. See, you can see it's still written annual income in the graph, in the code down there itself. You can
जहाँ
change that.
प्लॉट हो रहा है देखो ग्राफ के ऊपर एक कोड
Plot
लिखा हुआ है ये
plotting
वाला
wala
विजुअलाइज
code, you
करना
can just
है.
make it from annual income to age again, just for
I
like
think you change spending score, right?
she spent. I'm not sure. Anyways,
Like
whatever she.
what the like the thing you feature you change just rename it वही है ना?
Yes, that's all. So you can just
तो फिर
name it anything that you want, and it doesn't. It's just for, like, show whatever you want.
so like this was it like यही एक्सरसाइज करना था. अभी इधर तक किसी को इशू है तो like you guys have 2 minutes more like also 1 minute more. If you guys are done then like we are ending the session. जिसका जिसका हो गया वही like upload it to social media दिखाओ कि किया है ग्रुप में डाल दो शेयर करो. like, कल से अभी तक like we are getting the movie website का लिंक्स अभी तक आ रहा है तो सेम शेयर कीप शेयरिंग द नोटबुक्स आल्सो
Why
सो लाइक
is
वी
it
कैन चेक आउट
loading?
है ना.
Press on
ठीक है.
cancel run and run again if you want.
Okay guys.
It's not working. Refresh the notebook now. It sometimes happens. Refresh the notebook. Just refresh the page. You can also press, like, there's an option to sort of refresh the entire thing. Go to the right side of the screen. See on the off, like, switch on off button. There's another. No. On the like left to that. Yes. Factory reset the session. And now press run all when it appears, like when the session is started. Yes, this time see it's age and annual income as expected.
Great
So great
and
job.
that was it.
Download the notebook and upload it to GitHub.
Yes. Thanks a lot for joining everyone.